Hello everyone, and let's talk about Maynard's House by Herman Raucher. This is an ebook that I read, and the edition that I read was 272 pages. This was published in 1980. This is a standalone, and this is a gothic horror novel. There was an audiobook available. I did listen along to the audiobook while I read through my ebook. The audiobook, when I read it, was available on Everand, is narrated by Perry Daniels, and it is 8 hours, 50 minutes on standard one-time speed. This is told in third person, and we are following Austin, who is a 23-year-old. And takes place, for the most part, in Belden, Maine. So what is this about? Well, so Austin got drafted to go to the Vietnam War. He meets what becomes a friend named Maynard. Maynard decides to gift Austin his home. So Maynard is giving his home to Austin if he dies, which in this case he does die. It opens right up with that. He's killed in the Vietnam War. Austin goes to Maine to live in Maynard's old home, and that's where things start. Strange things start to happen. Quite a bit of nightmares is the biggest thing. Thinking that he's hearing things or seeing things, like a rocker rocking by itself. But you start to question, so he talks about these little, I don't remember the word used, but kind of think imps. It turns out they're real people, but these two children who play pranks, throw snowballs, things like that. So he talks a lot about them. This is a 23-year-old man, and I think the eldest of the two children, I believe, is 16, and so she's definitely underage. There is what he thinks is possibly sexual attraction and not great thoughts, like pedo-type thoughts. So this one we are trying to figure out if what Austin is experiencing with seeing, hearing, all of that stuff, is it really happening? Is he being haunted? Is it jokes that the children or other people from the nearby town, because he's rather isolated, are people doing this to him? Or is it all in his head? Is he having some kind of a psychosis or psychotic break, and is he hallucinating? So you're trying to figure it out. That's pretty much what it is. You'll be reading everything from Austin's perspective, and then all of a sudden Maynard will show up and he'll have a full-blown conversation with Maynard, and in that scene you're thinking Maynard's a ghost. And it's like, oh, it's all in your head and things like that. I can only do so much. Trying to warn him, and then let's just say by the end of the book, I was left with more questions than answers. I don't mind if a book is if the point of the book is to confuse. I don't mind that, as long as I do get some answers towards the end. This one, I felt like the point was not to confuse me. Now maybe I just went over my head and I read into it wrong, and that was the point. But even then, I read a book by Jeff Vandermeer, or 4 books by Jeff Vandermeer, and the point was to confuse and kind of mess with your brain or something, and it did, but I still had more answers than I had questions by the end of the book. This one was reversed. I had more questions than I had answers, and that's what I don't like. I want answers. Not everything has to be answered, but I do felt like I was left with more questions. I was still questioning, like, what really happened? Was I in some third dimension? Was this all this weird dream? Did this really happen? And now we're on this loop like groundhogs? Are we having this possession and nightmare and dead bodies? And there were so many questions. Was it all a hallucination? Is it a hallucination? So many questions. So yeah. So honestly, this book was just not for me, but other people will love it, and I do know a lot of people do love this. So that's what the book is about. What are your content and your trigger warnings? As I had mentioned or kind of hinted at, you do have thoughts of pedophilia. especially where he starts thinking about having sex with this teenager who is 16. Now, I know in some areas that is the age of consent, but you do have this 23-year-old and a 16-year-old. So that is a bit of an age gap. So, you know, depending on where she lives, it either is a pedophile type situation and or not. And do keep in mind where this was published in 1980, the standards are different, you know, back then than they are today. So there is some gore and body horror in this. And there are some points where he is remembering events that took place during Vietnam. So you do have conversations that take place during a war. And that's pretty much it. So in case you're still on the fence, let's go into the word counts. We have bitch 5 times, the word rape twice, hell 38, damn 17, the word suicidal once, the name Christ 17, not in a religious sense, or some very, very rarely was it in a religious sense. Ass 11, the name Jesus 20, again, usually not in a religious sense. Asshole once, son of a bitch 8, bastard twice, fuck 17. Then we have shit at 13, the phrase goddamn at 6, and then goddamn it at 2, turd 4, and that was used in kind of like a derogatory and slang type way, so that's why I included it here. The name God 11, usually not in a religious sense. Helluva, except it's spelled Helluva, so Helluva 7. Horny once. Breasts once. Piss 4. Aroused once. Bullshit once, and Lord twice, usually not in a religious sense. And that's pretty much what it is. I do admit I was left more confused by the end of the book, so me trying to give you a valid synopsis and a coherent synopsis is a little bit more difficult for this one, but I still wanted to put it out there in case you're kind of on the fence, that at least now you know what the content, at the very least, and trigger content warnings that I was able to find. And definitely with the word usage, if this is one that you can look into more, or if this is the one that you say, nope, not for me. So let me know, have you read Maynard's House by Herman Raucher? Have you read any other books by this author? Is this something that you're intrigued to pick up or are going to give a pass to? Definitely let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.